Brian, you have a question?
He's doing this for the video now.
We were talking before, and he said, I'll probably have a question for you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Actually, so you talk about people not being open to receive love. What are some characteristics that you can recognize in your partner or anybody else that's they're not open?
That's a really good question. You mean specific things that they do? Okay, one thing is if you, I'll tell you a quick little exercise that you can do, but one thing you can do is you can say to yourself, to check out yourself, is to say how easy it is for me to receive a compliment. What do I do when someone says to me, hey, Matthew, I really appreciate you for this reason or that reason? Even if they just say you're a good guy, what do I do with it? Can I stop for a second and breathe it in and let it connect? Can I let it connect with me? I give an exercise out periodically to people. I say, write down 25 of your positive characteristics. Now, 25 to me is giving you a break. Because what I would really like to say is 50. Now, about me? Oh, yeah. I was trying to help you out there, Paul. So, I could go around this room right now and tell you 25 positive things about almost every single person in this room, except for somebody I just met 10 minutes ago. And with that person, I could probably come up with 5 or 6. Now, I had to learn how to do that, but one of the ways I learned it is I started looking at myself and dealing with that, and I said, see, this is part of loving yourself, okay? Is, okay, do some homework over the weekend. See if you can come up with 10. If you can't come up with 10, ask Sophie. And here's the thing. Sophie is his girlfriend. The thing is, if I'm having an interaction with Sunny and she tells me something positive about myself and I find myself wanting to deflect it, I laugh, I make a joke, I change the subject. That's what people do. What I need to do is say to myself, this person loves me. She has the eyes of love to look at me. I need to learn how to trust what she sees in me and say, even if I don't see it, I need to respect that and begin to look for it. Because if she saw it, it has to be there. If she saw it, if someone who cares about you and loves you says, Paul, this is a wonderful characteristic that you have. For example, are you aware that it took courage to ask that question? Oh, that's good. You did good. You see? You made some progress right there.
The courage to answer that question.
Yeah. But do you see what happened? You debated a little bit and then you go, yeah. But you did let it in. And you didn't see it coming. But I meant it. It does. It takes courage to ask a question in this kind of place. You don't know people. You don't know, everybody's worried, am I going to make a fool out of myself or whatever? And you ask the question. If you start asking yourself, can I let love in more today than I did yesterday? You will start noticing the specific ways that you, yourself specifically, go like this. And that's a great question we could spend a lot of time talking about, but I hope at least that was a good start. Yes, Debbie.
It's not always easy to break down that wall around your heart to say, okay, I'm going to let somebody in. It takes a lot of self-realization, a lot of thinking, a lot of perspective of who you are. I spent years to overcome the wall that I built around my heart. It's not an easy task.
Thank you. That's true about all of us. We all need to spend years working on breaking down the wall, because what happens to us is we come into families, and I don't care about There are no perfect families, and every family does something or doesn't do something that contributes to our experience of whether or not we feel lovable. Everyone. And so once we realize that and recognize I have some resistance to it, because a lot of people don't even like, what do you mean? Tell me somebody loves me, I got a problem with it? Yeah. I never met anybody who could let the whole thing in all at once. And I've been working on it a long time. And so that's a very common experience. The question is, am I going to find the courage and the self-awareness? Because ultimately, it does get easier. It does get easier. It gets easier to do this than that. You can go home tonight. You can stand in front of a mirror, or you can stand in front of someone that you care about and go like this, and go like that, and go like this, and go like that, and start seeing how you feel. Pause for a moment when you do it and see what happens to how you feel with that person. Or you can go like this and see how you feel. You may find sometimes that this is a little more comfortable. I don't want you to beat yourself up about it. I want you to say, okay, well, at least I got my hands up. Now I can start going like this. And if you pay attention, you're going to feel what starts to happen. There's an opening that really does get easier as you practice it. Now, if you want to increase your self-esteem and your self-love, do it in front of a mirror. It's not always easy at first. Sometimes in front of the mirror, we get more uncomfortable than when we're looking at a person that we care about. It's like, wait, I thought you weighed like 30 pounds less than you do, you know? But still, this counts. So thanks, Debbie. That was a good question. Yes, sir.
So is it fair to say there's a big responsibility to that loving and caring? Because if you do, you could be vulnerable. But on the other hand, if you do, it can change your life.
Absolutely.
In many ways.
Mm-hmm. It's the most therapeutic thing a person can do with their lives is to allow themselves to be loved. Because if we allow other people to love us, then it increases our capacity to do the same for them. And you're right. I really meant it. It's the most really being in love with someone and them loving us back the same way. I've never found anything. And the good news about that, it can happen to anybody. That's why I told you the story about Bobby. I got other stories like that about people of other sizes in different ways, but it can happen. From 15 to 105, you can fall in love. Question is, are you going to see it as a divine gift that's precious and you're going to treat it that way? Or are you going to follow it the way that a lot of us do and the culture does it? You watch television, all you're going to see most of the time is examples of stupid relationships that people have been the most trivial possible. That's the comedies. They pick the dumb parts. Every once in a while you find one that has a really deep expression of love, but it's the other side is it. One or two more questions, please. Chloe?
This might be a little vague, so forgive me, but I know we talked a lot about how important it is to be open and to break down your own walls, but are there ways, what are some ways that you can support someone else who might have a hard time with that?
Well, that's not vague.
I didn't know if it was
So I
something
don't,
to get into.
it's not vague, so I don't have to forgive you.
Thanks.
People will often encounter that in relationships. You see your partner or somebody that you care about and you want them to open up to love more. The first thing you need to do is to make it safe to be with you. So that when that person starts to feel it's safe to be with you, it becomes easier for them to open up and receive what's there. And we make it safe by being I want to say non-judgmental, but none of us is completely non-judgmental. but you can try. Be non-judgmental, compassionate, and empathetic. Compassion and empathy are very intertwined, but to open our hearts to that other person, when they start feeling that we are open to them, they feel safer to let us connect. They feel that, okay, Matthew's a safe person for me to open my heart with. You can't do it with criticism. When we all get criticized, that's the first thing we want to do is we feel like this, and it's hard not to do that. And if we're vulnerable with them, it helps. You know, if I think that you are a person who has a hard time allowing my love in, I might say to you, I don't know if I've really made it clear to you or not, but I really love you. I love you a lot. And I would like to show more of my love to you. Would that be okay? Now, that's hard to resist that, isn't it? Already, you love me more, right?
I couldn't love you more.
She was not a plant. So, but we all get in that. You know, the other thing is, if I think I'm in a relationship with someone who's having trouble receiving my love, really the first thing I want to do is ask myself, what am I doing that's getting in the way? I'm going to look at myself first. Am I interacting with you in a way that makes it hard for you to receive my love? This was Debbie over here asking me the first question. Debbie started torturing me a little bit, at least a year ago, because she's a good friend of ours, and she would say to me, Matthew, I love you. And I didn't want to say it back. I was just a little uncomfortable with it. And every time I'm confessing this in front of this whole group, Debbie. And she would be over at the house, and just she'd get ready to leave. She'd say, Matthew, I love you. And I say, bye, Debbie. And I go, God, I'm doing the freaking mantra every day. And what is wrong with me? And I'm thinking, I'm doing this mantra. I do that every single day, 5, 6, 7 times in a row. And she comes and says, I love you. And I'm like, yeah. So I don't know if you've noticed, I started saying it recently, like 3 or 4 times. I wrote them down. I know that. It's like it comes to me in all different kinds of ways that I noticed, and I'm still working on it. It has helped me a lot when I started doing that mantra a little over a year ago. When I say I want to be open, I'm completely open in my heart to all the love that wants to come to me, and I let go of my resistance, I'm starting to notice much more subtle signs that I send out to go like that. And it also helps me in being more open with other people. So it's a great question, and I hope that helped a little bit.
I was just wearing you down.
You what?
I just thought I was wearing you down.
You were. You were. But every time you would do it, after you would, and if I said anything to her that was a little bit provocative, she would turn to me and she'd say, Matthew, you know I love you. And I think, right to the heart. One more. Yes, sir.
So I've had a hard time. I've never had a chance to sustain unconditional love based on my past relationship that I was in. What's a good stepping stone for me to open my heart? Like having that chance to open unconditional love towards myself and towards others. What's a good stepping stone? I know my background, you don't know that.
What?
Like based on my background, I don't know if that'd be difficult to answer, but
No, it's not. It's not. You already took the first step. Right then. You did. You asked the question in a way that was honest. How do I open my heart more to love? That is a very big step. So one thing you can do is ask that question every day. When you wake up in the morning, I'm sorry, but tell me your first name again. Corey. Sorry, Corey. Corey, every morning when you wake up, say to yourself, today I'm going to open my heart to love as best I possibly can. Now, what's going to happen when you start doing that over a few days is you're going to start noticing the opportunities that present themselves to you throughout the day to do that. And then if you have the kind of courage and vulnerability that you just showed, it's going to get better. One thing I will say is don't go, I know this is going to sound a little weird, but don't go for unconditional love. I didn't see it yet in anybody. We all have our stuff. And sooner or later, everybody in this room has got something we could do to them. They say, that's it for you, Matthew. Okay, you just crossed my line. Now, maybe there might be further out for some people. But go for being as loving as you possibly can be. And hopefully every day you're going to get better. Does that make sense? It should make it a little easier, too. But if you start the day with that question as honestly as you asked me, you're going to see things happen. And if you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to do it every day for 30 days, you will see a difference as you go along and you will become much more aware of it. And it will be meaningful to you. And I know if you're talking about trauma, painful things that have happened, childhood, you're not that old now. How old are you? Okay. So in the first 28, there's probably been a number of things that make you think, it's not so easy to open up. I got that part. This will help. And it will lead you to other steps that will help you along the way. It will work. What time is it? 7? Okay, I've got a couple for one or two more questions and I'll stop. I appreciate you asking questions because the one thing I should have said, in a group like this, when a person asks a question, no matter what it is, in this group of maybe 20 people, there are at least 2 or 3 other people in the room who have that question and are not asking it. There's never a unique question that nobody else wants to answer. It's that because we're so similar, every question that's been asked so far applies to just about all of us. So, yes, sir.
What are some protective measures you can use for a couple that's in love, or people around you that may not like the love or accept the love?
I think it's good one. That's a really good one.
Vodka?
Yeah.
Now, you don't drink the vodka. You pour it over them and light it up. Look, here's the thing. I'm going to give you the R-rated version. The R-rated version of that is if you are around people, if you're in love with somebody and they're in love with you, and you're around people who are not on board with that, do the best you can, at least for some period of time, to stay the hell away from them. Okay? Because if it's a new love, it's just like a new plant growing in the ground. It doesn't have much of a root system and it needs some time to grow. So you got to protect it. Now, sometimes you can't avoid those people.
I mean, I'm talking about if they verbalize it and they say things to try to offset.
We've had people tell us, you guys make us sick. You're sickening.
Okay, so...
Yeah. Friends,
Jealousy
parents,
or-
yeah.
Okay, all right, so here's the thing.
And we're like, oh, that's nice.
Or it could be
We take it as a compliment.
Do you see what you ignited in the room?
I just thought that was my ex-wife.
So now you have
No,
just
I'm sure it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
I mean,
now you have just created a lynching party. He's just created a potential lynching party here. Here's the thing. If people say to you that blatantly what you just said, I don't consider them a friend. And I would truly avoid that. I don't see a reason to get in people's faces about that unless they're relatives. Yeah. What if they're members of the family?
Yes, they are relatives.
Look, you know, this thing you did for him, just this, the shield.
Um, how many people in this room have had at least a little bit of that kind of problem about their own relationship, people disapproving? You see? Did you see that? That's what I thought. Okay, to different degrees, a lot of us. See, here's the thing. When you truly fall in love with another person and they fall in love with you, people intuitively know that you've won the lottery.
Yeah.
Okay? What happens if you win the financial lottery? People get jealous. They get uncomfortable. They start looking at their relationship and say, no, I got to get rid of those people because they make my stuff with you not look so good. Or my heart is aching for that and I don't know what to do about it. So first protect it best you can. Talk about it with each other and support each other about it. I'm not surprised so many people raise their hands. It's not uncommon at all. And we could go around the room and everybody tell their story, but it would be we didn't feel so supported in it. And part of it is what I just said. It is such a powerful gift that other people get uncomfortable with it. And often they get jealous because, you know, if you've got it, you're fine with somebody else having it.
So in a way, you're saying you got to protect it.
I'm not in a way. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know, now you got it in my face. Yes, protect it. If it's precious. Good question. Did you wave at me?
I've
Sure.
been reading a lot about self-love, and what I've been learning is if you don't have self-love, then you cannot be loving.
Is that a myth or is that?
Okay, here's the paradox about that. When we come into this world as tiny little babies, we need to be loved in order to know that we are lovable, and then we can give it back. But it starts with the love of the parent or the caregiver giving to us, which when we first come in, we're completely vulnerable to it. And if we don't get it so much, we have trouble with it. Now, I know people will say you can't love other people until you love yourself. It's not exactly true. Really what happens is, I think instinctively, if you're still alive, you have some love in you. Because if you stopped loving yourself completely, you would be gone by tomorrow. You would be gone. You'd walk in front of a truck or something, and it wouldn't be on purpose. It'd just be, okay, it's time for you to go, Matthew. Bang, you're dead. So you've already got it in you. What you need to do is pay attention to it. But if somebody says, you can't love other people until you love yourself, and you might say to yourself, I know I love the other people. I have evidence of it. But I think the truth is we need to work on learning how to love ourselves better. And one of the most powerful ways to learn how to love ourselves better is to let other people love us. Is to go like this, even if it's scary. And sometimes maybe you're going to do it with the wrong person at first. I've been married 3 times. This is number 3. When I was 21, I married my mother. Oh, wait, it was somebody a lot like my mother. I've been wanting to use that line so long, I had to do it. So I was going to put that in the talk when I thought I'd wait. So I married a woman at 21, and it was, when I look back, this is my analysis, it was about safety, about going out in the world, having somebody, but I wasn't in love with her. And I knew it the day we got married. 7 years later, I met someone that I fell in love with. And I left my wife, I got divorced, and I married her. And that relationship lasted 35 years. And almost killed me due to some very serious mental illness. But I loved her when I met her, and she loved me. And that mental illness was like another person, a wall that got between us. And it was excruciatingly painful. And it finally got to the place where it was either die or get out. And I got out. And then I found a healthy love of my life. And sometimes Sunny has said, she's driving, so I have to be nice. So I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry. Oh, yeah, I found a healthy love of my life. Some people are listening to me. And she has said to me on occasion, I wish I'd met you sooner. And my response to that, an honest response, is if you had met me 30 years ago, I probably would have messed it up. I don't think I would have been able to tolerate the amount of love that she has to give to me. And now I have a goal every single day not to do anything I have to get in the way of that. And when I start to do it, I try to pay attention and go back to this instead of that. And most days I do pretty well. But it is a daily conscious practice for me. And I feel the same way about her, and we talked about this a lot before we came here tonight. She feels the same way about me for the last 6-7 years, I think. It's just as ecstatic as it was in the beginning. Every part of it is better and deeper and stronger. And we have not lost the ecstasy. And that's why I put this other part in there, that you can sustain it. If you treat the relationship the way I was talking about, it can have a powerful effect on you. It's worth waking up to every single day. I don't hesitate when the alarm goes off at 5:30 to roll over and put my arm around her. It is the most beautiful experience. It starts my day like that. I don't care what else happens the rest of the day. That's how we start. And at the end of the day, it's pretty much the same kind of stuff. And the conversation, the sharing back and forth is consistently like that. I think that I have the best relationship there ever was on the whole planet. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would love to meet the other people, okay? Not to say yours aren't great, but I'm saying for me, it's as good as I could possibly imagine. There's nothing that I would change.
No pressure.
Your percentages are going up tonight.
One of the things I love about her is her sense of humor. It's just really, I love it. I love it. I don't even care if she makes fun of me because I love the humor so much. I don't care. All right. Should I stop now? I think so. Anybody got one last question you want to ask? Okay. Some people. Paul, that's what I was going to do next.
That's how we get out. The doors don't open.
So once again, I just want to say thank you for being here. It means a lot to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good job.
Great.